So we've been able to use our web service that we've published, and we've seen how we can add parameters to it and make it flexible and consume it from client applications. The final thing you probably want to think about is managing and monitoring the usage of that web service. So let's take a look at that. So here I am in the web services management portal, and I'm on the quick start page, and you can see there's an option here to view usage statistics. I can actually just go straight to the dashboard and do the same thing. And what I'm seeing in the dashboard is a chart here showing me, initially for the period of the last week, I could make it the last day. In this case, I only just created the web service today, so it doesn't really make much difference. But I can see here the number of batch requests and the number of request response requests that I've got. So I can see those listed out separately. I can see for request response requests what the average compute time is. And for batch requests, I can see what the average job latency is for doing the batch job and then returning the results. And if I scroll down, I get my total usage of a nice big 0 for errors, which is always good to see. And I can see my total usage, 6 transactions since I set up the web service, and the amount of compute that I've used. So I get some basic sort of tracking statistics here that's quite useful. Now you might be wondering, what would I have done if I hadn't had 0 errors, if there were errors occurring that I perhaps want to troubleshoot? And actually what we can do to do that is we can enable logging. So if I go to Configure tab here, there's various different configuration settings I can set up for my web service. I could add a description to it and so on. But the one I'm really interested in is enabling logging for my web service. So if I go ahead and enable logging, we'll just go ahead and save that. It'll take a little time to make that configuration change. And once that's been updated and we've got logging enabled, because this is a new style web service, it's a resource management web service, it's going to automatically have created the Azure storage folder that I need for my logging. If this was a classic web service, I'd have to go and create that manually, but I can go in and look and see what's been created. I can actually see I've already had a look in that folder here. I'll just show you where it is in my storage. Here's my storage containers. There's this ML diagnostics container, and it contains a folder hierarchy with logs of my requests. So here's an existing log entry for a request to my web service, and if I go and get that and just download it, it actually looks like this. It's a JSON file describing the execution of my web service. So I can see the invoked start event where we had the import data. We brought in the data from our Azure SQL database, and then we've got our join data. And then moving further down, that one that was successful. Then moving down, there's edit metadata. So it basically works through all of the modules that are in my predictive experiment, which are obviously now in my web service, and it will work its way through them and log what's happened as it's worked through them. And if I did have any problems, if there were any errors, then I'd be able to use this to troubleshoot whereabout in the data flow the error is actually happening.